And
We're on.
welcome to Happy Chaos.
Happy Chaos, where our chaos is happy.
Is it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is.
I think our happy is chaotic.
Okay, I'll go with that. I'm not going to argue that one. I'm Justin.
I'm Kelly. I asked this question the other night. I'll pose it to you all right off the bat. Just, is a door on when it is open
Yes,
or closed?
open.
Interesting.
I mean, I wouldn't use that verbiage saying a door is on.
Like if you think about on or off.
But who says that? Who goes around saying my door's on?
Okay, is a door working when it's open or
I think
closed?
it's working if it swings.
But what I'm saying is, if the door, like if a door doesn't open, it's totally broken, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if it doesn't close, that's broken.
I mean, if the Shulamite's brothers had it their way, the Shulamite would have been considered a broken door.
And so they were going to board her up.
They were going to board her up.
Because it wasn't doing its job. Like the door wasn't doing the job it was supposed to do, which was close.
Or open. Or swing.
Because if an open door is just a doorway.
Yes.
But the door itself.
Yes, but
Otherwise,
I don't know who finds these questions.
Otherwise, why even have if being open, if the opening is working, then why even have the piece of wood or fiberglass to make the door itself? Because it doesn't matter.
What if it's a glass door?
What if it's a sliding door?
Now we're really getting into some...
Yeah. All right, welcome to Happy Chaos. We don't normally do riddles.
And rambling.
Yeah, riddle question. We definitely ramble.
Okay, we do ramble.
But... Hey, we're a family with 9 kids, both widowed.
But now remarried.
Just a few months ago, we married, and then we decided that our lives were not chaotic enough, so we'd start a podcast and tell you all about it. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Today, we're going to talk with you all about it's going to be a raw conversation, a very real conversation in that, we kind of have some, it's just one of those moments, one of those.
A bittersweet moment.
Yeah, there's a bittersweet moment that's happening for us. And that bittersweet moment specifically is that we have 2 children that are graduating. And more than just 2 children that are graduating, because that's special in and of itself. So a daughter that you brought in, our daughter that you brought into the marriage, and my son that I brought into the marriage. And so one from kind of either side. But I think the thing that makes it so bittersweet in this way is that both of our children going into high school lost their parent. Mm-hmm. Their first year of high school, lose their parent.
Yep.
And then, or lose a parent.
Yep.
And then in their last year of high school,
they
gain a parent. So that's it's just cause for, where we are today, what we're going to talk about. So that's what we have to look forward to. But before we get there.
Oh, it's my favorite. Let's think. Oh, the male song is number 1. So now it's your turn because I've sang it the past 2 times.
You want me to sing it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was You've Got Mail. Nobody's heard that in years. All you Chick-fil-A kids, you don't even know what that is.
They have no idea.
That was from AOL.
But you romantics do, because there was a movie with Meg Ryan.
Yeah. Who was the guy? And it was it
Tom Hanks.
It was Tom Hanks.
I think so.
I just remember that You've Got Mail. Well, our mail is in the form of messages on Facebook. And so
and comments.
Kelly, read us a comment.
All right, I'm gonna pick this one. It's from a top fan. It's a win-win.
It feels like
Diane Farrell Harland.
Oh, she got a comment read last week.
Yep. I love each and every episode, but this one made me cry as I got married. I found myself outside of the wedding shop throwing up. I was so nervous. My granddaughter let me know that that's not how a bride should be acting. She was 20 at the time. What she didn't understand is I had lost 2 husbands, the fathers to my children. I even told my fiance, "Are you sure? I've lost 2 husbands." I was beginning to feel like a black widow. But then our God. But then our God. First of all, I'm so sorry you lost 2 husbands. That's
Yeah, goodness.
heartbreaking. I can't even imagine. And I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But God, I am so happy that the Lord has restored a marriage for you once again, you know, and restored life for you. I think that's beautiful. And thank you for being a top fan too.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and read the next one?
She got a comment read last time too. Rachel
And
Lavadius.
she's a top fan.
She said, I'm with Kelly. It's a gifting problem.
It's a gifting problem.
No, y'all, it's a spending problem.
It's a gifting problem. It's definitely not a spending problem.
It's a spending problem hidden in the gifting.
Definitely not.
I know it's probably frowned upon to like mention this, but did you ever see the old Bill Cosby, like the Bill Cosby himself stand up from like the 1980s? And he was.
I probably wasn't allowed to watch it.
Really? I don't think there was anything bad in it.
Oh, my dad was weird about that kind of stuff, you know.
Oh, he might watch this. You just said he was weird about that.
That's okay. I think he knows.
Well, he had this part in there where he was talking about his kid, like catching his kid in the cookie jar, and then his kid would be like, "But I got it for you." And so I feel like that's what Kelly is with purchases.
When you just said that, you know who it reminded me of? One guess.
Your youngest.
Mila.
Yep, your little twin.
Yeah.
Okay, Catherine Brown says, I recently attended a beautiful wedding of some good friends of mine, and they washed each other's feet, and that made it so special. They are a devoted Christian couple. That is very sweet. I think that's probably one of my favorite things to see and do at a wedding.
I would agree.
I officiate. I'm a pastor, for those of you who don't know, and so I officiate a lot of weddings, and I've seen a lot of things done at weddings, but I love a foot washing.
Me too. All right, let's see. Laura Durand. I look forward to y'all's podcast each week. Please don't stop. Y'all's story has been such an encouragement to me. My husband got diagnosed with stage 4 esophageal cancer with 3 years ago. It's a miracle he's still with us. Boldly Believing with Blake is the name of the page. So go follow. Go follow Boldly Believing with Blake. God has granted us more time where he got to be here for our son's first birthday, and hopefully he'll be here for his 4th one and many more to come. I don't really have someone to talk with that's walked this journey, but hearing y'all talk about it has helped me navigate and find some insights on how to talk to my 3-year-old boy about daddy. I love how much you both honor your late spouses and have blended your lives in such a beautiful way. God is really in y'all's story. That is so beautiful. And my goodness, the journey that you're walking right now is not for the faint of heart. And it really does take devoting yourself wholly to the Lord and his plan. It truly does. Like that, we know what that was like in those times, and we're here for you. I know you say, you don't have many people to talk to walk that journey. We are here, and shoot us a message. Well, I'd love to talk. I'd love to chat with you. Thank you for your beautiful comments. Really, really sweet.
Yeah.
I'm glad that our story is touching people like you who are experiencing what you are.
Yeah. And for those of you wondering, like, what's with all the wedding conversation, that was the last podcast where we asked the question, like, tell us about some of your favorite wedding memories. So Shelley Feudman said, all the hard work my mom put into our wedding, making our cake and the flowers for our wedding and all the decorating, my mama is amazing. Aww. Well, Mama Feudman, or whatever your maiden name is, Shelley.
Shelley's mama.
Yeah, Shelley's mama. She's so grateful for you. So you just got a shout out on the podcast. So that's pretty awesome.
Oh, this is Diane Harland again.
Oh, yeah.
I know, and look at this. You definitely got to read that one.
Yeah, so there's a picture here of the entrance of our church. She says, my husband and I made it over and prayed over your ground right as you began the school. My timing might be a little off, but I know I was praying for the school. Praising God for you and your ministry, and I believe this was in January of 25. I thank God for you and Kelly and your ministry. She's been put there to help build the kingdom of God, and I thank God for her. She adds a woman's point of view to each and every subject, and I love I love that about her. Your kids keep up the good.
You kids.
You kids keep up the good work. I pray that you reach this younger audience and bring them closer each and every episode. Thank you, kids. May God bless. Oh, how kind. Thank you very much.
I know,
Yeah,
and
cool.
I'm not sure. Do you live close to our church and to here? Because
Yeah.
next time, stop in and say hi. I would love to hug you.
Yeah. Let's see. Selena Allison Maiden says, just how sincere my husband was as he said his vows. We will celebrate 37 years of marriage in June. God is so good. And congratulations, 37 years is no joke. And what a special gift that is to be able to have that.
Yes. Glenda Steele, I read your comment last week. And so we have 2 comments here from her. Thank you for your sound advice. I miss my darling husband so much. Loved listening to your story. Blessings. Thank you. And I'm sorry about the loss of your husband, too. She also said, oh, my word, I'm so thrilled and blessed that Kelly, you read my comment all the way from South Africa. I love laughing and so love your laugh, Kelly. Bless you. My day was made. God is so good. Love listening to you.
Oh, love that.
We love talking for you.
That's right. Now, there's one more comment we're about to read.
I just talked about this at lunch too.
Excuse me, have you guys ever seen Tim Hawkins when he talks about like when old men laugh and then they cough? That's me. Cassie Rogers says, Casey Rogers says, I'm a 2-time surrogate here and would totally do it for you all. I absolutely love watching you all and love that you both share. That is a very kind offer that we have to politely decline. So there's that.
But thank you, Casey. What a selfless, beautiful thing that you do.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
I mean, seriously, that is. I just, we have enough dogs.
We're drowning.
Animals. And we have enough children.
Oh, we do have enough.
We're good. My kids have been on me because I'm like, no more animals.
And I'm 42, y'all. I cannot imagine being 60 as my last child graduates high school. I don't want to do that.
There's some 60-year-olds that just bristled at that.
My mom is one of them, so. I mean, good for them. Like, that's just what, but I cannot imagine. Like, y'all, I feel like we got a lot going on in this household.
So much going on. So much going on. Actually, just one more. Vicky Quayle says, I really love your all's podcast and you're so special. Look forward to when your podcast comes on and I love it. God bless you all. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I love that. Do we really have to stop?
I mean, I don't know, to some degree. You want to read another one?
Yeah, hold on.
Delilah Fox says my phone stays on silent 24/7.
But she's a youngin'.
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I said, look, there was tears. Like the young people, they don't have any sound on their phone whatsoever.
Yeah,
and then
she's a youngin'.
Then they come up to then you come up to the vibrate. You're like, okay, I need to know something, but you still don't want any sound, but it's okay for it to vibrate.
Yeah.
Unless it's on something and then it bugs you. Then that just bugs you. But
like yours, you can't have yours on.
then when you get older like us, then you turn the sound on so that you get a notification. And then if you get old enough, you turn that little flashing light on so that it'll flash.
At the graduation tonight. So they're in the middle of like
some prayer or something, I think.
And all of a sudden the guy in front of us, his phone went off and it was he was quick though. He was boom. Yeah. He like 2 seconds.
Some like
maybe.
Country rock song.
Oh, it was. Yeah. I was like, oh, thankfully that wasn't me. But I still keep mine. I'm young. So.
Yeah, I was going to say that happened in the parent section, not in the student section, because those students wouldn't have any sound on their phone.
Exactly.
Not in that way. All right, y'all, keep the comments coming. We love them so much, and we get joy out of reading them. So
very, very much.
Yeah. So I just really appreciate all that.
And your interaction. Like you guys listen to us till the end, and I love that.
Hey, y'all want to hear something cool? We just signed a deal. Yeah, kind of. Is it signed? I don't know if it's called that.
I'm gonna go with that. It sounds cool.
We just signed a deal.
Oh yeah. Sponsorship.
What is that? But anyways, so we don't have them yet, but there's a T-shirt company called Caruso, and
Kerusso.
yeah. So maybe we'll make sure to try to put a link down below in the comments, or not in the comments. Well, some of it have to be in the comments.
Yeah, and if you shop with them, use the code Happy Chaos.
Yeah.
Just one word. Don't separate happy and chaos. Happy Chaos, and you'll get 15% off.
Yeah, so you can get 15% off by using the discount code, and we'll have some shirts here shortly that they're sending us, and we'll sport the shirt.
And we'll show you. These are awesome shirts, seriously.
And then if the podcast goes far enough, then maybe we can convince Caruso to just make a Happy Chaos shirt.
That would be so cool.
Anyways, okay.
So cool.
Yeah, so just if you go there, is it just caruso.com?
Yep.
We'll try to link it, and then you can just use that code if you wanted to. But I thought that was pretty cool.
It's so cool. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, this podcast is just doing really well. It's, from when we started, and we just kind of had this idea of wanting to share, wanting to share our journey to, kind of where we are now.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
And it started with reels. Like, we were doing these reels, and everybody was coming to us in church and like, I love seeing you guys' story. I love seeing the behind the scenes. I love the laughing and the restoration and
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh, I don't even know.
No, I forgot what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something about Caruso, I believe, but I totally just lost it.
You blanked. I thought you were gonna say it and then you stopped yourself.
No, because I thought about starting the podcast, and then I started thinking about our wedding, and then I'm like, oh, that was so beautiful. And then I just
then you got distracted. You swooned. You caused your own swooning.
Say, if you guys know someone, or if you guys watching own a company, and you want us to rep for you, hit us up.
She's just dropping a line right there. All right. I'm excited about this topic today because I feel like I love talking about things that are just really familiar and like close. Sometimes when I try to talk about things that happened a long time ago, there's parts of the story that I might, forget or, miss or whatever. And I guess there's a part that, somebody can remind you of something, and then that's can be good in and of itself for conversation. But in this case, I love when something is like, this isn't looking back 2 years ago or 3 years ago, or looking back even a couple of months ago. This is, like right now, this week, what we're kind of went through, even tonight. Like tonight was the graduation ceremony of our son, and to see him graduate, knowing his story, knowing that, knowing for him that he lost his mom going into high school, gains a mom coming out of high school, and, had all of that, all of our, I say drama, just to be clear, we didn't have drama between each other.
No.
But a lot of people tried to surround us with drama.
Ooh, they tried to create drama.
Excuse me. Some did. Some actually, I would say, accomplished that goal of creating drama. Anyways, but, our kids were subject to that. They were subject to all that was going on. So they've definitely had a high school journey that it would delve into kind of our world and what we were going through, and obviously from a very unique perspective of their own. So I have this question here. What's one word that would describe this graduation season? If I ask you to sum it up into one word, I know it's like late for us, y'all. We've had an entire day of events, so we have an entire day of events tomorrow.
We've had an entire...
Yeah. So... But if I said put it into one word, it's the one word challenge. What would you do? You guys that could be a comment for you guys. If you could say like the season that you're in right now, put it into a singular word. What would you say is the word that?
This might be overused, but bittersweet.
Is that one word?
It's one word. Bittersweet.
Compound word.
Time for an English lesson. No, not from you. No, it was like a part of our show. Like, let's move on to an English lesson.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! Stop! I wouldn't. No, because no.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
So I think if I was gonna put a word to it, I think the word I would put would be maybe sentimental.
Okay.
I think that it's moments like this that make me mm, just kind of
Mm-hmm.
evaluate things that have happened and things that are happening right now, and um, I don't mean sentimental in the sense of like sappy. I just mean that I start to feel those feelings, those kind of sentimental feelings, but also maybe more the maybe just the reality of what we're all going through. I guess there's these moments that it's kind of like, I hope I can say it this way. Like some moments I feel like, gosh, we've just been married for years.
Yeah.
It feels that way to some degree. And then there's these reality check moments of like, that, this is still all really fresh and really new.
Yeah.
So sentimental.
Okay.
That's my word.
I can feel that.
Do you want to change your word now? Do you feel like that?
No.
Do you feel like
No, it really is just bittersweet because, it's sweet to watch our children like embark on this chapter of their life. Because, it got me thinking, so like nostalgic is also, and it got me thinking of like when I was hearing the speech from the valedictorian, is that how you say it? Valedictorian?
valedictorian?
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, where was my mind at 18 years old? What was I thinking about the future? What did I look forward to, and what seemed intimidating to me, and just where was my mind at that time? And I don't know. So I'm just thinking about our children and where their minds are at, and
Well, that's a great place to start. Like where was your mind at when you were 18 years old, and how do you think that compares um, to where our kids are?
well, I think it's very similar. Like especially with Kaylee, like I had to grow up quickly, and not just that, but I wanted to. I've always been a romantic, so I wanted to get married like when I was 2.
You?
And so by the time I was 18, I was like, I
didn't know
I
that
should have
about
been
her.
married for years already by now. I thought I was so much older than like I look at my 17-year-old daughter and I'm like, man.
I was 20 going on 21 when I went to college, and I felt I was like, like I missed
felt
it.
like-
Like everybody else is getting out, and I'm going in.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
went to college.
It wasn't
I
like
don't
that.
even
There
know
were
if
like some really old
Mila-
guys
I
there.
don't. I think Mila may have been born last time I went in college, and so I was in my 30s, like mid 30s. No, it was probably right before Mila, maybe. I don't know. But anyways,
So
there
you
were
were
some
like
peop-
you were one of the people that I would have called old in the class.
Yeah, for sure. But then there was older people than me in there, older women than me, and then there was youngers. But yeah, so 18-year-old Kelly, probably learning some life lessons and starting to see things a little bit differently than I did in previous years. And
If you want to know what I looked like when I was looked like, but also looked like, you just have to look at my son that just graduated.
yeah, 100%.
We're like doppelgangers.
Yeah. And so are me and Kaylee. It's funny.
I feel like with you, Kelly, I feel like
Mila's my.
have you guys ever seen the movie Multiplicity? Do you remember that movie? Was it Kevin Costner? No, it wasn't Kevin Costner. What was the guy's name? He was the old Batman in like the 1980s, 90s Batman.
Val Kilmer?
No, before him. No, like the first one that did like a good Batman. Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Okay, so it's got Michael Keaton, and Michael Keaton he's like, doesn't have enough time to get everything done. He's got this job, he's a construction worker, his wife wants more time with him, whatever. And so he's like, man, if only I could make another one of myself. And so he makes another one. Like this guy tells him you can clone himself. There's this way to clone himself. So he makes another one of himself. And so the movie is now that there's 2. So there's him, the regular Michael Keaton, and then there's the working one. And so this guy that comes out of the machine or whatever, he is like grumpy and gruff and, just like a hard worker, but he's just like
Are you saying I'm grumpy and gruff?
no, not at all. But this is the point. So he goes
Yeah.
back and the scientist in the movie, the scientist is like, oh, whatever you wanted, whatever your desire was, it's like that amplified, right? And then, so, he still doesn't have any time for himself because now, his wife is just eating up all of his time. And so he like wants someone who can be with his wife because this guy can't come and hang out with his wife. This clone, he can't come and hang out with his wife because he works all the time. He's grumpy and he's gruff and whatever. So he clones himself again. This one to kind of be like Mr. Mom and Mr. Romantic. And so this one comes out and he's, the best way I could describe it would be like a little bit feminine, And so again, because like that was, so in a certain way, I feel like with all three of the daughters that you brought into this marriage, there are these like pockets of personality that I go like that's Kelly's portion amplified,
Yeah.
So,
But 2 of the 3 are identical to me. It was like copy paste, copy paste.
I think you might mean looks when you say that.
Yeah, looks wise.
Yeah, for sure.
And Sophia looks just like Daddy.
Yeah, like uncanny.
Yeah, like you put a beard on her.
If you put a beard on her or grew his hair out,
Yeah,
they would be the same
twins.
for sure.
Yeah. And she even has his handwriting. It's the strangest thing. It really is.
Yeah. So I feel like your girls definitely, but your our graduating daughter definitely.
She's more mature than, I don't know, like maybe more responsible and more like not head in the clouds. Like I've always been like a head in the clouds. Like you can't take me down.
I think the part that Kaylee has of you is like that, the kind of mom nature, the responsible, something has to get done, somebody has to do it, I'll do it.
Yep. I mean, look, this girl, okay, she's 17, she'll be 18 in September.
I'm drinking so much water to keep from coughing.
Yeah.
I'm like fighting back coughing.
Yeah, I'm fighting yawning. Obviously, we're taping late again.
Taping?
I just showed my age. Sorry.
When we get done, we're going to put a record on.
VHS.
Yeah, we're going to put... Honey, did you rewind the tape? Some of y'all don't even know.
Do you guys remember that, though? When you would have, like, 3 movies on a VHS, and you would have to, like, if you wanted to watch the last movie, you have to fast forward and wait for the 3rd movie to get there.
My dad, like, bootlegged a bunch of movies.
Oh, so did my parents, and then it would say the 3 names on the side of the VHS. You're like, okay.
But they had no order to them. You copied them when you rented them from. We had a rental store called Poor Boys, and so we'd go to Poor Boys videos. I think it was called Po Boys.
Po Boys.
Yeah, and so we'd go to Po Boys video, and we would rent a movie or several movies, and then my dad would tape them, record them onto a tape, and
so funny.
So then he had like a list. And the list was alphabetized, but then the numbers beside them would correlate to the tape that it was on. And we had like 300 of those, which would be like 900 movies that my dad had bootlegged.
Here's the real question. Mm-hmm. Do you remember waiting for a song to come on the radio and recording?
Yeah, for sure. And you'd get a little bit of the song before it, or you'd miss a little bit of the intro.
Yes.
You know what's funny though?
Completely different worlds.
Yeah, it does. You know what I'm thinking though? I think on those tapes that we had, I'm pretty certain that Land Before Time and Terminator 2 were on the same. They were on the same.
I feel that.
I feel like that's a real thing. I need to check with my brother. He's got like a photographic memory about those kind of things. But I'm pretty sure Land Before Time and Terminator 2 were on the same.
I mean, that's another thing, how I began by saying how weird, my dad's thing was, like he wouldn't allow, I couldn't watch Power Rangers.
Oh, you missed out.
Oh, I watched it anyway. But I wasn't allowed to watch Power Rangers. His phone just vibrated.
I tried to.
That's hilarious. So I was not allowed to watch Power Rangers, but I was allowed to watch Terminator.
Yeah, let that sink in for a moment. I know. I
Get
know.
it.
And then I go back and watch stuff and think, what did they let me watch?
Oh, for sure.
We got to get ourselves back on track here.
Yeah,
We
okay.
are
Focus.
We are way off track. But I think we were talking about just like where we were at 18.
Yeah.
And my son coming into the marriage, just trying to differentiate the conversation. He's definitely my twin.
Yeah.
But he's my twin in personality.
Yeah.
And there's all these moments that I want to say, like, I would never have done that.
And then you go check yourself.
And then I check myself. Like, he regularly makes me check myself.
I mean, today is one of the examples when his teacher.
I don't know. I don't want to tell that story because some of the people he works with watch this. But wait, I'll just tell you all. One of his teachers told me something, and then I sat down and I was like, I was mad. I was mad at him for what he had done. And then when we sat down, I told Kelly the story. I was like, well, I kind of did.
It was one of those realization moments where you're
Excuse
like,
me.
oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I totally would have done that or had done that.
Yeah. So where I was at 18 years old, though.
You were getting married.
Well, I was getting married, but specifically for me though, it was all about, and I think he mimics this. It was just all about like starting my own life. I had a life, but my life was like, my description of my life was that it was buried under everybody else's stuff. I'm the youngest in the family. And so I just felt like in everything that I did, even like my truck and the insurance that I paid, my brothers had, whatever happened in their cars reflected on my insurance. And so even like, the car that I had and the rules that we had in the house, I just felt like I was buried under everybody else's. I loved my parents, loved my brothers, loved my upbringing, like loved my childhood. Every bit of it was great. 18 years old, I was ready to go because I just felt like I was under everybody else. And it was time for me to like get out on my own. And what's interesting is I see that out of my son.
For sure.
I look at him and I say, like, he is, he's ready to go because he's ready to go. He's not ready to go because he's mad at us per se. I mean, he has his moments, we all do, but it's not like we're trying to leave on bad terms. It's just like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because he's the oldest boy.
Yeah.
And so it's the equal opposite of me in that way. I felt buried under, maybe he still has that same feeling, but definitely not because of being the youngest.
And so I feel like Kaylee is the same as me at this age. Like, I didn't want to leave my mom's house until I'm married, but I want to be married, and she wants to be married. She wants to find the love of her life, which she thinks is never coming. And I'm like, that was me. I was like, I'm never going to find somebody.
Yeah.
And I was, and it just feels like the end of the world.
I think trying to compare that, though, like there's one, there's one link that is removed from that, at least in my scenario, and I think yours as well. And that link that's removed is, both of my parents were alive and healthy at graduation. And so, when I think back to that, I think that, one of the things that I can't say for certain what someone's feeling or not feeling, but I'm just saying that, for me, I had both of my parents. And so that comes down to that kind of sentimental part of it. I definitely, I think I felt the freedom to say, like, I felt like because they're healthy and they're good and like I'm ready to go because I don't have any conscious thought of like, how brief life is or how hard that was. So, I think for our kids, they have a reality check that you and I didn't have. That, the reality check of, how short life is and how precious it is. So I think that's something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that all came from one word. Just use one word to describe this season.
Yeah, I mean, look at Elijah's little blurb that he put in their graduating thing. I think that's a glimpse into how our children are feeling about it.
Yeah. I would say I have that as a question down here, so I guess we can just go ahead and move to that. I wrote this question down. I said, what moment recently made you unexpectedly emotional? And I think I like witnessed that in you.
Yeah.
I almost want to like read his comment. I don't know if I should do
I have
that,
it on my phone.
but he made this really sweet. They had like a little program, and the kids' pictures, and then parents wrote something, and then
The kids wrote something.
and then the kids wrote something, and
And we didn't know what he wrote.
No,
I
we
don't
hadn't
think he
seen
knew what we wrote either, because we sent that in.
yeah, we sent them in separate. So here's this portion that he wrote, and he said he was. He was thankful for his high school years and how much fun he'd had, especially after he got his license. And, he really has just lived that to its fullest. But then he mentioned, kind of in the last couple of sentences, he, made this mention of losing his mom and how hard that was, but then also how thankful he was that he gained a mom. And when we read that, I will say like it was a tearjerker moment for me. To read that, but I looked over and Kelly was like, she's about to lose it. She's doing the like, I don't know what this does.
We have to walk him up on stage. It fans the tears from like.
Does it really though?
It does though.
I don't think
it does.
That should be the thumbnail right there.
Please don't.
Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry for coughing.
So yeah, it was a beautiful moment, and it kind of gave us a glimpse inside, because I think I could say the same for both of us. Like, our children don't do a whole lot of talking and expression on sadness with and I think that's the resilience of children. I think our olders definitely have expressed more sadness moments than any of our younger ones. They have, but just not often. Like, they seem to just, roll with, and we've asked them, we asked them how they're doing, and you always did before me, and they're just very.
I wonder too, though. I remember being a kid, and I went through this little spurt where I was watching home movies on tape.
You were watching what?
Like home movies.
Okay.
Like you ever had your dad ever like news camera number 10?
I used to cry and run out of the room when my parents would put those on.
Oh man.
I was so embarrassed of them.
That tracks.
It totally tracks.
Well, my dad had this camera, and he would film
everything. If he was anything like my dad, it was everything.
It was a lot. They had a lot of these we just called them home movies.
Yeah.
I don't know what y'all called them, but
home videos.
Yeah, home movies, home videos. So my dad would sometimes he would set the camera up on the tripod and just film the day. And other times he would, sit there and commentate, and he would, move it around. And other times we got the camera. There's this one video of, we all got in trouble. My middle brother was making me fight him. We had boxing gloves. We had a pair of blue boxing gloves and red boxing gloves. And they tell me that I have to put on the gloves and I have to fight him. And he's like, he would hit me in the head, and then my head would hit the dresser, and then he hit me, and then my head would hit the dresser. Anyways.
Did you cry?
No, we were boys. No, we didn't cry. I'd get mad, and I'd go, try to punch him back, and then he'd come back and punch me, and whatever. And so my parents, they call us in the room about it, and my oldest brother tries to lie about it. He's like, I didn't even know they did that. And about that time, he turns and looks in the mirror and waves with his with the camera. I just had that memory of my dad getting mad at him. He got in trouble for lying because he said, I don't even know when they did that. And he's the one holding it, of course, Anyways, so, we'd have all these home movies. I was making a point, though. So I go back in my childhood. I went through this little spurt where I was watching those home movies, and they felt very distant. It was like, I don't know, it was weird for me as a child to watch these old home movies. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, when I think back on that, I was like 10 or 11 when I was really into watching these movies. Well, the movies were when I was like 5. And so from 5 to 10, I remember being 10 and it just felt like I have memories not because I remember the event, but I remember watching the video of the event. And so there's weird kind of memories that I have now of like seeing myself as a little boy. I remember, like, I have this memory of me opening at Christmas, opening this like Batman lair, like this Batman cave. It was like a toy that, you know, you could put your action figures in. But I see that from the outside, like see myself opening it because it comes from a movie, at like a home movie.
Yeah.
By the way, it was 1989, Christmas 1989. But I watched that in like 95, you know, like 94, 95. I'm watching this video from 1989 and I didn't remember that. I just remember the video of that.
Yeah.
So I say that to say, like, I wonder, you know, with our kids, especially those of the younger kids, I wonder how distant, you know, what feels like just yesterday for you and I
Yeah.
probably feels a little more distant for those who were younger.
Yeah.
So, and I would say the same thing even when probably didn't feel like eons ago, but it definitely felt like a longer stretch of time from 14 to 18 than it does from, say, 18 to 22. Like 18 to 22
For sure.
feels like that.
Yeah.
14 to 18, I mean,
I think once you turn 18, time flies.
I think for me, it was once I started working a full-time type of a job. That's when, you know, time began to move differently. Yeah. You know, and the year went, you know, things went by fast because I think you kind of mentally block out, you know, the thing that you don't really want to do. So you don't really focus on that so much because you're trying to put your emphasis on the thing you want to do. Maybe, I don't know.
So if you guys have been watching this far, do you guys have home videos still?
Oh, yeah.
Do you like own any that you could go back and watch? Because I don't know where ours are. Ours are probably long gone. We don't.
Oh, I have mine.
Oh, if your mom is watching this, I totally want her.
No. I mean, I have the ones that I made when I was.
You have them in your possession?
Like the ones when I was a young adult, and we had a Sony Handycam. So I have these little mini tapes. They're not the big tapes. They're the mini ones that you got to get a converter.
Yeah.
So the only way to play those is on the Handycam. You have to take the Handycam and plug it in. I mean, you can get, otherwise you get like a bigger tape and you put the small tape into the bigger tape and you put that into the VHS, the VCR. I did make a bunch of them into DVDs. So I have a bunch of DVDs of home movies too.
Oh, I totally want to see these.
So this is like young, you know, 18, 19, 20-year-old. I think I got the camera. Somebody got me the camera as a gift. I can't remember. Maybe it was my father-in-law. I can't remember who got it for us. But they got us that when Elijah was born. I got that. Man, that could be some fun movies to watch. I should have had those for tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah, when Elijah was born, we got the Handycam.
Wow.
But I wouldn't know how to play them. I don't have a DVD player.
But you have them on discs, you said. But even then, we don't have anything to play discs. Like, how old are we? We're so old. Yeah. I'm glad that we don't have mine anymore. Because, you know, I was always a brown noser, you know, the goody two shoes. And so I was a patrol in school. You remember patrols? With your and you monitored the hallways. Did you guys have those up here?
Yes, and I think everybody has hall monitors, and that tracks. Like, you being a hall monitor tracks.
And I remember this memory because I was terrorized by them watching that video.
You know what snitches
I would
get?
come in the house, stitches. But listen, I came home one time, and after I was just made patrol, and my mom's like, go back out the door, and I'm going to start recording you when you come in, right? Oh. This is humiliating. And so I walk in, I've got my patrol belt on, right?
She have you do a little dance or something?
No, she's like, what's that you're wearing? And I'm like, it's a patrol belt.
Why are you so embarrassed by this?
It's humiliating. I'm so glad that we don't have those anymore.
Kelly, I was in gymnastics. There are videos of me in tights doing the splits. Like, I just don't think that. No,
it's embarrassing. I'm telling you. It's embarrassing. And
I had a bowl cut. There's
My
videos.
brothers did too.
There's
So.
videos of me with my hair sticking out like a mushroom.
That is so funny. Oh gosh, I have got to see these videos.
I had a mullet when I was like 7 or 8, and then I had a bowl cut when I
I
was.
want to see it so bad.
We really have a podcast here.
Okay,
We got a
All
whole
right,
thing.
Let's move forward here.
I wrote this question down because I really wanted to talk through this with some of you who are, because we know that some of you all are widowed and you're going through the same thing. So how do we create space for their grief without making celebrations feel heavy? And I know what my answer to this question is, but I'm curious to see, and I can answer first if you'd like me to, but how would you answer that? How do we create space for their grief without making celebrations feel heavy?
So I think we allow our children to be open about everything. Like we don't suppress their grief. We don't, we talk freely about their dad and like Jonathan and Sarah. We talk so freely like they're a part of our, because they're a part of our lives. And so it's never like a taboo, like don't talk about that.
Right.
It might
for the
upset
people
somebody.
For the people that jump on comments and be like, oh, it's time for you to move on.
Yes.
You don't, that's not how to deal.
No, and you just talk about it like memories, like remember when this and you remember when this and
Yeah, I had somebody come to me one time and they said that they, after their mom had passed, they were adults and they were like, after mom passed, we did not speak of her for X amount of time. I don't remember what they said. Something to the tune of years, like 10 years or something. They didn't speak of her. She was like, even like, it's like the day of her funeral. And it was like, they just shut it off. Everybody just shut it off. And so then later they were having all of these problems and I don't remember if somebody went to some counselor or some therapist, whatever. And they were like, hey, you really need to deal with your grief. And so, I think that what you just said, I think, there's wisdom to saying, talk about your late spouse, talk about your late husband, talk about their late mom or dad. I think that that's a great way to create space for grief. Grief is there.
yeah.
Grief is there, whether you choke it back or not.
Yeah.
And also, I think there's some people that go the opposite way and they let it out, let it out, let it out. And every now and then there's a time to be like, okay, like I have to get up out of bed today. I have to wash my face. I have to go on with my day.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm so sorry. But but I think both extremes are dangerous. Suppressing it completely can become, there are times that you just, if I can speak for myself, there are times that you just have to suppress it.
Yeah.
You cannot always let it out. There are just times that you go, I have to do this, and to do this, I can't do that.
Right.
And
you can't live there.
Yeah, you can't. And I remember saying that for a while.
You can visit there.
Yeah, I remember saying like, I do not want to live here for the rest of my life. There was a moment in time when I had to live there.
Right.
Because it's
you have no choice. It's happening. And
right.
You feel at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the, living there. And then there's also the like ignoring it altogether, finding ways to drown it out, so to speak.
Yeah.
Some people maybe find negative ways to do that. Some people find what doesn't maybe seem like a negative way, but it's still not great to just totally suppress.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good to let it out. So to some degree,
right.
And I think that it just needs to be appropriate. So I think one of the ways that we make space for that is just by letting all of this be a regular part of our life.
Exactly.
We do not go silent about Sarah and Jonathan all week long and then come on here in a podcast and talk about them.
Exactly.
Like in the car, we openly have conversations about Sarah and Jonathan.
And the kids do.
And the kids jump in.
Like just today they were saying, do you remember when mom would do this, this, and this? And I mean, just the laughter and the fun.
I heard Phoebe ask you earlier, she said, did you ever do strikes?
Yeah.
And that's something that Sarah would do with the kids. She would give them a strike. She would say, that's strike one, that's strike two. I wasn't a big fan of the strike system, to be honest.
Well, no, because like I told her, they'll go strike 3, 4, 5, 6. Like it doesn't matter. Like so, one needs to be it because they will literally. It's not a warning shot. They're not like, oh, mom said strike one, time to stop. No,
Yeah.
they stop and they stop when you punish them.
Yeah.
That's when it stops.
Well, I mean, I will say that to some degree there was kind of a lesson in like, you've been warned. Like it gave a chance for you to give a warning, which I think for Sarah too, this was one of those open conversation things. Like I think for Sarah, like she was quick to ground or to discipline, like kind of harsh. And so it was a way for her to slow herself down so that, but she wasn't, because otherwise it's like, oh, somebody leaves their shoes out and all of a sudden they're grounded for the weekend. And then it's like, I'm looking at it going, did you really ground them? Like, we never would, go against each other in front of the kids, but I'm like, do they really have to be grounded because they left their shoes out? Well, that's the 10th time they left their shoes out. Oh, okay, I get it. But, like,
And then you're left with a choice where it's like, well, we're having movie and popcorn tonight, and I've grounded them,
right.
and so it's like,
Yeah,
I totally like that was something I learned early on. I didn't always do it. I was never a perfect parent, but something I learned early on is say what you mean and mean what you say. Like, if you're gonna punish, know that you either stick with that punishment or you don't say it at all,
Yep.
because you go back and that just opens the door for
yeah.
more. But yeah, going back to Phoebe saying that, she was talking about mom. She told a story about, she said, I was in the grocery store and then Titus chimed in and he's like, yeah, you would hit people. You would hit me. And she's like, I remember when I got 6 strikes at the grocery store from mom. But they do. They talk about different stories and stuff.
Yeah.
Mila, I don't think I've heard her talk about, I don't remember.
I mean, you got to think, she was 3.
Yeah, just barely 3.
Yeah. So, that's a young age.
Yes.
I think something that I would say too about like, how do we make space for grief is, I think there's something to being, I want to use the right word here, but like, I try to guard our family as a whole. I try to I try to look for those pockets of like, hey, this could be emotional. This could stir something up. This could be, I mean, I've even said that to you. Like I've said about certain things, like, I could see that if we do this, it could do that, or that this could be. So I try to just like intentionally make space by being on guard of, for my kids to try to really be dad. I would do that with anything else. If I knew that something else was going to potentially upset my children, I would try to think about it from their perspective before we ever get there. So I feel like that's been something that I've used to kind of help create space.
Yeah.
By watching it ahead of time. So like one of the ways that I'll do that would be to like, if I see something that's a potential pitfall or I see something that's a potential issue, then I'll come to the kids prior to and I'll say, hey, how are you feeling about this? What do you think about what if we did? I'll bring it up to them and I'll try to verbalize to them. And I think that's been a means to try to like,
yeah,
help.
I agree.
So
I agree for sure.
yeah. All right. So here's a fun question. Do you remember what, like thinking about Kaylee specifically? Oh, the yawning's coming.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Thinking about Kaylee specifically, what was she like as a freshman when she lost her dad? What was she like then? And maybe even compare that to, where she is now, what she's matured into.
Okay. So she wasn't boy crazy. No, she's not boy, but she wasn't looking at being married. Like that was like not even a talked about thing. When I was that age, I was ready to be married already, And
when you were a freshman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she still mature, like very mature for her age, and just carried the weight of the world on her shoulders, And so freshman year, her dad was diagnosed with cancer, her 8th grade year. And so she tried to take on my role you know, with the girls to make sure I had time with dad, and she did too. Like she was right there to like make sure he was getting his medicine or make sure he, you know, had drinks and was hydrated. And so yeah, I would say just very mature and beyond her years. And I don't think much has changed there, but I do see like obviously a weight lifted off her shoulders, you know, like she doesn't have to be that anymore. She's free to develop into her own person, and but it shaped her too, you know, it shaped her to be this resilient, beautiful young woman who, you know, has a servant's heart and is very driven. I see a lot of Jonathan in that way in her. You know what I mean? Like he was a hard worker and never complained, and I wouldn't say I'm a complainer, but I also don't want to have a job and out in the real world of work. I just wanted to be a wife and a mom, and you know.
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, that is the real world, but I know that I get the figure of speech that you're using, but no, I don't
All right,
love
let's
it.
turn that around on you now with Elijah.
What was he like when he was a freshman? You know, first of all, there's always been a level of hard-headed because he's me. And so, you know, there's always been this level of like him and I we're like two rams, you know, we just come at each other and we're both saying the same thing, and yet we're kind of arguing. Just over and over, I've had to look at him and say, stop talking. Like no matter what words you want to say next, don't say them.
Yeah.
And then of course he'll go, but I'll try to talk. And I remember Jeremiah, my middle son, for you guys who are watching, I remember him from across the room or whatever. He'd be like, bro, just shut up. You know, just stop talking. But you know, I think if I was to talk about just his personality, he has always been very, he has always been very concerned with like the way other people felt.
Empathetic.
I don't know that empathetic is the right word. Like, I don't think that's it, because sometimes he says stuff and does stuff that like is not definitely, it's like far from empathetic.
Yeah. Do you mean more like the things people say like about him?
No, I just mean like he is concerned for how other people are doing.
Okay.
He's not empathetic. Like I know it almost sounds counterintuitive the way I'm saying it. I'm trying to put words to, you know, what I see in his personality, but like he will check on people. You know, he would check on his siblings. He would check on me. He would, you know, he wanted to be helpful to make sure that, you know, other people were taken care of and that other people weren't, you know, suffering. He's, you know, always putting other people above himself. Now that has to be justified. You know, that had to be a justification for that. But definitely, you know, I think like my name is I've always said like my name means justice. Like I think he's, you know, personified.
It means faithful one.
That means justice.
It means faithful one. I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
You're making that up though.
I'm not though.
It's
So
not
go
like,
ahead. When we get to heaven, y'all, when we get to heaven, and the Lord says to him, did not mean justice, it meant faithful one.
you know, I think Elijah has always wanted a sense of justice. Of, you know, like this is right because it's right. This is wrong because it's wrong. And
I definitely see that.
You know, like things are very cut and dry, black and white. And that's caused, you know, butting of heads, because if he's wrong about something, but he thinks he's right, and that's me, like I'm preaching to the choir, like that's me. If I think I'm right about something, but then I'm actually wrong, then it can be very difficult for other people to get that across to me because I'm stubborn and hard-headed in that way. So, but I'm saying that not to say that as like a negative about him. I'm just saying if he could look at it and say, this is right because it's right, or this is wrong because it's wrong, he wanted to make sure that other people were taken care of. And he wanted to make sure that, things were taken care of. And even if he couldn't take care of them, he wanted to make sure that they were noted that, they needed to be taken care of. And so I think in the same way, you kind of said that like Kaylee was forced to grow up. And I think in the same way, he was forced to grow up in certain aspects that maybe if mom was here, he probably would not have had to have been forced to grow up in those things. So, but I think that's probably true of a lot of circumstances, probably more than just widowhood, probably more than just losing your mom. I think there's lots of people that could say like that thing forced me to grow up. But in our case, in our household, it was the loss of mom that then forced him to grow up. But then he became, this very helpful. That's a great word for it. Like he became this very helpful young man. If I and even where he is now, look at it where he is now. If he knows that somebody needs something, even when he was talking about like earlier tonight, somebody was asking him about what he was doing with the Rotary Club, like how come he wasn't noted for doing stuff with the Rotary Club, and he was like, well, I didn't sign up for the Rotary Club. He was like, but when they were doing stuff, I would just go and help. And I have emails from teachers of it, him going and helping before class or helping before some event, and they're like, oh, it was so great to have him here, and so just always really helpful. And I think that really started, or at least I really began to see that in him. We went from that like kid who, when you have a child, you're always taking care of them. Right. We went from that where it's like I'm always kind of taking care of to like flip it around, and then he's being like super helpful. And it was kind of at his freshman year, mom passes, and he kind of like turned a page where he became like really, really helpful. All right, well, here's kind of a hard question, and maybe we'll ask this question and then begin to wrap up here, but what's been the hardest part that you had to watch them in high school without a parent, the loss of one parent? What's been one of the hardest things to have to watch in that journey?
I think hands down was me having to go work. And her having to be at home with the girls, which forced her into a motherly relationship with them instead of sisterly relationship with him. And the repercussions are still showing of that. There was a fine line between being mom and being sister. And I think it's hard to come back from that. And so I feel like she always felt like the weight of the world was on her shoulders, to the point where she would hide it. Like I would always say, gosh, the kids are so resilient. The kids are so resilient. But about 2 years in, so make her, 10th grade year, we moved here, and she finally started like really showing signs of depression and not suicide at all, but definitely like heartbreaking depression. And I didn't realize that I just always saw her as a strong, resilient person. And really deep down inside, she was covering so I didn't feel those things. She was like being my shield. And it really stems from, Jonathan. I had him create a video for them because like there was many things I wouldn't touch with him. Like I would not, if he talked about relationships or, me moving on, or, I would shoo those conversations aside. I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. Let's not, go there. But I did want him to, but it was such a fine line, because I'm like, I don't want him to think I think he's dying, but I want to have those memories, And so he said in the video, Kaylee, make sure your mom doesn't get her heart broken. And I think she took that to its furthest extent, where she was constantly trying to protect me. And I don't know, she just went through a really deep, deep, deep depression for like 6 months. And it was hard to see her go through that. and the effects of everything really get to her.
Mm.
So I think that was probably the hardest moment for me to watch, for her to have to take on the world and then to see the repercussions of her taking on the world.
Mm-hmm.
And realizing there's nothing I can do about it. Like, I have to work, I have to provide for my kids. What do you do in that situation? What do you do when she wants to live a normal life? She wants to get a job like everybody else is. She wants to be able to save for a car like everybody else is. She wants to not have to watch her sisters all day long and help homeschool her sisters who see her as sister. They don't see her as mom.
Yeah.
So that was probably the hardest thing for me.
Yeah. Mm. That's tough.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
I think, for me, probably this might sound a little strange at first, but I think probably one of the hardest things for me to see was when I was going through my own struggles, and the fact that they had to have me as the only parent, no relief for them, and yet I'm struggling. And I could say like a moment in time, and it dealt with um, my senior, my now senior specifically, excuse me, in one day. I don't remember what the scenario was, but I do remember that I lost my temper, and I yelled. I mean, I yelled at him, and I just, for the first time, we're talking about how hard headed he can be and how stubborn he can be, and I remember him just I yelled, and I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what it was about. It was something dumb probably, and I was just I was overwhelmed with grief and overwhelmed with anxiety and overwhelmed with life and trying to get everything done. And I don't remember what he had said or done, and I yelled, and then which me, like I'm not a yeller.
No.
I will raise my voice, but I try to come back off of it quick. Like I don't want to be a yeller. And so I remember I yelled, and I remember he, like, as I was yelling, and he just stood there. He just didn't say a word, which is not like him. He just stood there and he didn't say a word. And when I got done, he just looked at me and he just goes, "I'm sorry." And I broke. I walked outside, and I just like, and again, if you knew his personality, he's not the type to stop and then say, "I'm sorry."
Right.
But he could tell that I was like, that was it. Like I was on the edge, and so his, and I just remember being outside and being like, how unfair to him. Like he is still a kid. He's lost his mom, and there's nobody to, like, I am his defense, and I can't be yelling at him. I'm supposed to be the one protecting him. Like, having to watch him have to deal with that. Now all my kids included in that, but the fact that he had to deal with me without being able to, find shelter in mom. And then the thought even more so of like, and don't, please, like, don't run with that, don't run a million directions with that and say, oh, like I'm doing something. It wasn't like we're talking like an event, but I'm saying like overall, we went from having mom that could cook and cooked really well, and family dinners were a big part of our life, and then here's dad trying to learn how to cook, and you know putting the pieces together. And I will say that 4 years later, I can cook. Like I can cook, and I can cook stuff well, but my kids had to live through. Here's another example, maybe a little lighter of an example than me yelling at Elijah. But I I I remember when I got married, and Sarah, my late wife, was learning how to cook. And I remember there being nights that there'd be food that did not taste great, but I didn't dare say that because I loved her and I cared about her and I didn't want to hurt her feelings. And so, I remember one night specifically, she tried to make this like spinach thing, and it was, ugh, it was not good. And I remember being like, "Oh, honey, it's great," and just straight lied, and I ate that food, and it was terrible. Um, And I just wonder how many times, I made food that the kids were like, dang, I mean, we went from like having mom and now we have dad, and he's over here burning water, like, um, yeah, burnt water.
But let's just say like the lightness that comes, like that's all that is so heavy, and like gosh, it's heartbreaking to hear that kind of stuff. But then you think of the restoration that came, that God provided, us getting married, and like the weight that was lifted off Kaylee's shoulders, that she knew that mom found a good man who takes care of her heart and is there to provide and takes care of their hearts. And the girls that I brought in, you take care of their hearts, and you love them like they're your own. And I think there's such beauty to that, seeing that restoration. And
Yeah, I think that's the place that we've come to, is a place of
right.
we are literally, and you guys watching this, you're watching as restoration is taking place.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting, thing, because as grief took place, many people got to watch me go through grief.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a marked difference. Go back on my Instagram feed and go back, a couple of years ago, and there's a marked difference in that man that you saw, and the look in my eyes then, and even the tone of my voice and whatever. Like, you watch those, and then watch now. There's a marked difference, like a personality difference of where I was versus where I am. That's, you're getting to watch this restoration, and our home is experiencing restoration. And so, we've gone through deep loss and grief, but then now we're on the other end of that. And so I do love the idea of circling back around to, okay, but now where are we compared to, so there we were. There's this, like, kind of some of the worst moments, but then we have the flip side of that. We have these best moments.
Yeah.
We have these best moments where our kids are, you know,
Able to say mom and dad.
yeah,
Which leads me to something I wanted to say. It's a comment just from today, the reel that you made about Elijah, graduating, and somebody commented and they said, "Do they call you mom and you dad? And how does that work? Does extended family get offended by that? Have you had any issues in that area?" And they're asking because they just got married and remarried. And my answer to that is they do call us mom and dad. And there's a joy to it that, like, I don't know, that to be able to see our children, like, they were so excited to say, I mean, both sides
yeah,
were so excited to say mom, and my girls were so excited to say dad. Like, I think I told the story about, us in the car and you walking around and they're like, "Can we ask?"
And for those of you who didn't get to catch that episode, this was the day that I proposed.
Yes.
They were ready to call me dad. I remember, little Mila, here she is, just turned 7 years old, and she was like, "Dad, dad." And, like,
Yeah.
she was so excited to be able to say that. And,
Yeah.
but even our older children have done that. They've taken on that name. And so, yeah, I think, and even with, a day like today, with graduating, and I think that there's a bond that's been built that, people who've gone through shared things, shared tragedy, loss, experiences, whatever, then there's a bond there. I know for years it's been that way with me with foster parents and adoptive parents. When people find out that I fostered and adopted, and they're like, that we're going through foster care. I mean, I had fostered my girls how many years ago? 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Longer than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
goodness, I'm
Like
old.
18 years ago.
Yeah, actually, it started more like 20, 21 years ago. That's a long time. Anyways, and so, but still people will come to me and they're like, well, you fostered, right? You know, what happened when you fostered? And I'm like, well, things have probably changed. I mean, it was 20 years ago that I fostered, but yet I'll still get people that will ask me that because there's a camaraderie with, I've been through something,
Right.
we've been through something together. And I think as a family unit, we've journeyed something together separately. Now we're journeying that same thing together. Um, as we're together. And so I think that is exactly what is creating such a special bond.
Yes.
The fact that we've gone through that
Yes.
has created a really special bond between everybody.
I agree.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So I think if there's one takeaway that I could give everybody for this video, this is what I would give you is that I often try to portray and teach that like grief and happiness are not mutually exclusive. And there are times that both of those are existing in the same space, in the same season, sometimes even for the same reason. Like the same, something is happening, and that thing that is happening is causing happiness and grief. It's causing joy and pain at the same time. And so, the thought of mom not being there when Elijah walked the graduation stage and got his diploma. And even tonight, like here's an unexpected, moment of joy. Like, we got to the top of the stage and I put my hand out to shake Elijah's hand. So the way it's a hybrid homeschool that we did. So we went up on stage with our son, and they hand us the diploma, and then we hand it because it's still a homeschool in that way, and so technically it's like our school, but he's gone to classes, excuse me, some classes over here. So it's a hybrid homeschool, and that's the way that they do the graduation. But I'm on the stage, and I took the diploma from the leader.
And we
of the
practiced
school.
this last night.
Yes.
And so there was a handshake there that we practiced that they tell you, shake your dad's hand, shake the person giving you the,
So it's like the graduation handshake.
Yeah.
And so I took the diploma and I put it in his hand and put my hand out to shake his hand. And he just like
Hold you in.
just reached up and grabbed me and gave me a big hug in front of everybody. And, there's a camaraderie there. There's a love there and a relationship that's been built there because we've all been through something together.
Yeah.
And so, and even before that, they had a rose for the students to give to the mom. And so he gave you a rose and he gave you a big hug. And then he, when he came over, got the diploma, then he gave me a big hug. And so, just a really special, I don't know, I felt like it was really special. And I watched as so many others, these students, they shook their dad's hand. And that's, I put my hand out to shake his hand, would have totally accepted the handshake.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that.
No.
And so, and I think, again, I could be speaking out of turn for him, and I'm not trying to do that, but I feel like there was a message inside of that.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
To do that.
I would agree with that.
So, yeah, how special.
Very special. It was beautiful. It really was. Yeah.
Well, y'all, here we are. Happy Chaos coming to an end for this week.
Yeah.
We know that you all want more, and you want us to talk for 4 hours. That's not.
But stay tuned. Like next week, it's gonna be a good one.
Oh, we have. What is next week?
We'll talk about it on camera.
Whoa.
Oh, it's gonna be a good one.
Oh man, I didn't even know we were planned for next week.
Yeah, so I know this one was kind of heavy, and we hope we didn't make it too heavy for you guys. And I know we didn't have a whole lot of joyous, bubbly moments, but
Oh, I don't know. There was some off-track moments there
there was.
in the beginning.
All right, shoot them a question. So if they've listened this far,
Yes. What is that
I
question?
know that's on you. That one's on you.
No, well, you know what? I would love to hear from you guys about some moments that you've had that grief and happiness or joy and pain existed in the same space. And I'm sure if you think about it, you could probably find that. So,
Definitely.
if you don't have that, then you could tell us about one of your kids' graduations, or maybe your own graduation. Maybe something that happened between you and your parents in your graduation. So, we'd love to hear your graduation stories. It's that time of year for us. I don't know when you're watching this. These videos live for a long time, but
Yes, they do.
it's graduation time for us right now. Like we had rehearsal last night, and we did graduation tonight, and then
Graduation party tomorrow.
and tomorrow's graduation party, and then we have other people's parties to go attend, and so it's just that time of year.
It's that season for us.
It's that season where you sign stuff and give a bunch of money away. So, isn't that what graduation is?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, you give some money and sign something.
Yes.
Some people have you sign a T-shirt. I remember a friend had a dog, not a real dog, but like a stuffed dog, and we had like a little hat on, and everybody was supposed to sign the dog, and it was so cluttered with signatures you couldn't, like 10 people, it wasn't enough room. Don't get the dog thing.
No, in fact, I was like on Amazon trying to decide what to get them. And so we got them these sweet books. They're hardcover books that it's like a trifold. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
And you open it up and it's hardcover. And you get to sign all on the thing. And it has like a little tassel on the front. And really sweet. So I was like, we're not doing the dog.
And now
Because they're not going to, that's going to go in the trash.
Right. And now they get to hang their tassel off of the rearview mirror.
Yep.
Their little graduation
I think
tassel.
that's an old person thing like us that we did that kind of stuff.
Oh, we'll see. I'll bet there's a tassel on the rearview mirror.
All right, do not say a word to either one of them, and we'll see.
Does he watch this?
No.
No.
Kaylee does.
Okay.
So that was ruined.
Oh.
But that's okay. We'll play this game with Elijah. We'll see if he does it or not. That's all.
All right. Well, thanks guys for tuning in.
Yes.
Do they tune in now? Is that what
They
you
do when we tape. They tune in.
Yeah, they tune in to the tape. All right, whatever. See you guys next week.
Do you guys use the word tape?
Yeah, for something that holds paper to a Christmas card.
No, like if you're taping something.
All right. See you next week.
Good night.